Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie Holmes. A virtual COVID-19 summit kicked off today at the White House as the president is remembering the nearly 1 million Americans who have died from the virus. Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
By a presidential proclamation, flags have been lowered to half-staff to honor the nearly 1 million Americans who have died from the coronavirus.
1 million COVID deaths, 1 million empty chairs around the family dinner table.
President Biden marking the somber milestone with a virtual summit with other global leaders. But back at home, a new Gallup poll finds that 2/3 of Americans believe the pandemic is getting better. And more than half of Americans say they're not trying to isolate in any way. Still, during the summit, President Biden called on Congress to pass more funding for testing, treatments, and vaccines to prevent future outbreaks.
The request also includes $5 billion to keep up our global partnership in the fight against COVID-19.
The president said the U.S. will share health technologies with the World Health Organization and is starting a testing and treatment program for hard-to-reach areas around the world. But that funding faces an uphill battle.
When the House passes it, we will do everything we can to get COVID legislation passed.
Republicans are wary to throw more money at the pandemic and may force Democrats to take up immigration issues before more funding.
It's the only path I can see right now for getting any type of COVID aid is to leave Title 42 in place.
COVID cases have been steadily rising, almost 3 times as many now compared to just a month ago, though nowhere near what we saw this winter with the Omicron surge. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Gas prices continue to hit staggering highs. According to AAA, the average price per gallon in Chemung County has hit $4.60 per gallon. In Tioga, the price $4.65. Steuben County prices slightly lower at $4.62. All are higher than the national average of $4.41. A year ago, the state average was $3 per gallon. Police in New York City are looking for a person who slashed the tires of 41 cars in Midtown Manhattan. Police say 9 of the vehicles belonged either to members of the city's fire department or the U.S. Secret Service. Police released video of a suspect. Parents across the country are scrambling to find baby formula amid a shortage triggered by supply chain problems and the closure of one of the nation's largest formula manufacturing plants. Lauren Green has more on the story.
A shortage of baby formula has parents across the nation on high alert. The shortage is impacting every state in the country, forcing some parents to scramble to find formula to feed their babies.
So that's a real panic for parents when they go to that grocery store and they see those shelves and then they have to drive 40 miles to get to the next one maybe. I mean, parents shouldn't be having to face this.
Officials are blaming the shortage on supply chain issues, combined with a formula recall at Abbott Industries, one of the largest formula manufacturing plants in the nation.
It's been a struggle. If nothing else, it's been a mental struggle because as a parent, you just want to provide for your child, and it's your worst nightmare if you're unable to do so.
Abbott Industries was forced to close down a Michigan plant back in February, following concerns that some of its products may have been contaminated with harmful bacteria. Lawmakers are now calling on the FDA to look extensively into these claims and address the shortage.
I think the FDA knows the urgency of the situation and that they need to get on with the investigation.
Meanwhile, Republican lawmakers are slamming the president.
As President of the United States, you are responsible for leadership in this country. We want to make sure that there is a plan, and we have seen no plan from Joe Biden or the FDA.
The nationwide supply of infant formula has decreased by 40% since April. House members are expected to hold a hearing on the ongoing shortage later this month. In New York, Lauren Green, Fox News.
A New York judge says he will release former President Donald Trump from a contempt finding if he meets certain conditions. Judge Arthur Engoron said he will lift Mr. Trump's contempt finding if the former president pays $110,000 in fines for failing to turn over documents in a state civil investigation. Engoron ruled Trump in contempt April 25th, fining him $10,000 a day for not complying with a subpoena for documents from New York Attorney General Letitia James's investigation. Justices of the Supreme Court met this morning, gathering for the first time since the leak of that bombshell opinion on abortion. That draft touched off a wave of protests and new concerns about court security. Doug Luzader has more from Capitol Hill, where the Senate has just failed to pass new protections for abortion rights.
The Justice Department is now stepping in regarding court security, and we expect protests to heat up again in the days ahead. This is what may greet Supreme Court justices as they return to work today. Protesters from both sides of the abortion debate. We're still waiting for an official opinion from the court, though, on a case that could overturn Roe v. Wade.
The motion is not agreed to.
And another jolt yesterday as the Senate failed to move forward on a bill that would have codified the protections of Roe v. Wade.
This vote clearly suggests that the Senate is not where the majority of Americans are on this issue.
A new poll shows a majority of Americans, 57%, do favor preserving Roe. But the Senate bill went further, expanding abortion access and losing support from moderates.
Make no mistake, it is not Roe v. Wade codification. It's an expansion. It wipes 500 state laws off the books.
Women must decide their fate, not the court!
Pro-choice groups, meantime, continue to protest at the homes of justices. Virginia's governor calling on the administration to intervene, citing a federal law against efforts to intimidate judges.
That sounds illegal to me, and I just ask the Attorney General to enforce the law that's on the books.
The White House has said it supports protests so long as they are nonviolent. But Attorney General Merrick Garland has now asked the U.S. Marshals to help provide security. And we expect these protests to really expand on Saturday with a march along the National Mall all the way to the Supreme Court. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Wildfire season is in full effect out west. Heavy flames threatening homes in Southern California, while New Mexico fire crews are battling a fire that has scorched hundreds of thousands of acres. Will Jeunesse has more.
Flames and large clouds of smoke closed in on these multi-million-dollar mansions in Southern California. The coastal fire burned roughly 200 acres between the cities of Laguna Beach and Laguna Niguel, destroying more than 20 homes. Orange County fire officials say the blaze broke out Wednesday afternoon. Gusty ocean winds drove the fire into a densely packed neighborhood. Flames caught onto palm trees and dry brush.
We have embers cast very deep down into those canyons. We saw several palm trees that had embers burning in them. We had embers enter attic spaces through vents.
Fire officials say steep terrain made it difficult to run hose lines and position ground crews. Firefighters have been relying on air attack, with planes and helicopters dropping fire retardant and water.
Wildfire season, as we know it, is now 12 months a year. It's not just the summer months, and we all need to really be prepared.
Meanwhile, the nation's largest fire is now burning towards resort towns in northern New Mexico. It's scorched more than 200,000 acres since sparking a month ago. Nearly 50-mile-an-hour winds pushed the flames across containment lines.
After being tested here for the last few days, we're highly confident that those lines are going to continue to hold through us through the rest of this wind event.
Officials say with dry conditions around the west, small fires can quickly become dangerous. In Laguna Niguel, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
Your complete forecast is next, plus a new discovery at the center of the Milky Way. Stay with us.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, this week has given us a taste of summer, from those 60s on the weekend, quickly turning to the 70s and touching the 80s for the first time yesterday, and continuing to see those 80s possible as we head into your Friday and weekend forecast. As overall today, we climbed into those mid-80s under that beautiful sunshine. Now, noting that sunshine, do note that we're still in that time frame where we're continuing to gain daylight. So as we step through the overnight under those clear and calm skies, we'll fall into those 50s. But with sunrise tomorrow morning, it is going to occur just around 5:48 a.m. and see a sunset around 8:19 p.m. We're up to about 14 hours and 30 minutes of daylight, gaining even up to 2 minutes per day, and we'll continue to gain another 32 minutes as we head towards June 1st. Now, note that we see the day with the most amount of daylight occur on that first day of summer, which is June 21st. So as we get more and more daylight, we get that higher sun angle. One, burning is going to continue to be likely, but we're also going to continue to see a warming trend. But there is going to be some changes ahead for us. What we're tracking first is that into your Friday, we're still going to see some 80s possible across the area, but we are going to be dealing with some increasing cloud cover as we're seeing a cold front is going to be entering into near the Ohio Valley. But as that cold front works its way into the Ohio Valley, it is going to start to fall apart. However, there's still going to be enough, a wave of a moisture and some moisture from the south that is going to fuel the area to bring in some weak thunder possible on Saturday, but then keep some shower chances from Saturday into early parts of next week. So overall, not a formal system on its way, but enough that it is going to bring some of that cloud cover. We'll still see that warm southerly wind from the south help those low temperatures climb into those lower 80s. Not record breaking, but a day that you'll want to make sure again to still keep yourself hydrated, taking breaks out of that sunshine. Overall, as we touch off to 80, we're about at 10 to 15 degrees above average. Overall, we'll see the entire area see that chance at those lower 80s. Some areas just holding on to those 70s, especially across Pennsylvania, as that cloud cover will increase first there and then spread its way across the state, which is then going to bring in some storm chances. So some cloudier skies and some storms moving through the area. We will talk about those temperatures into the upper 70s, but then this is the day that you may have that weak thunder rumble through. Not expecting any widespread severe weather, but just due to the fact that we don't have any formal systems. Really, everybody has a chance at some showery activity. Where that cold front is, it's diminishing, but it is going to have that troughing system to allow for that moisture to build and then cause for maybe that rumble of thunder to push on through. So starting on Saturday, you see that uptick, especially with the moisture. You can see we have some moisture at play with dew points into the 60s. That means the atmosphere has that in the air and it can drop some of those rain showers, but then we stay active. A few storms still possible will linger into your Sunday, becoming more isolated with just some scattered showers Monday and Tuesday. But look at the temperature change that we will see. That troughing system and cold front will work its way towards the state as we head from Sunday into Monday, knocking us back into the 70s, and then we will see a return to the 60s, which is more average for this time of the year, as we will see those conditions start to dry out as we head into middle and end parts of next work week.
One of the nation's most critical water reservoirs is drying up at record rates, exposing gruesome discoveries of human remains. Rob Dawson has more on if the bodies in Nevada's Lake Mead could be connected to decades-old mob activity in nearby Las Vegas, and why officials say more remains could still be hidden.
Shocking human remains uncovered in Nevada's Lake Mead Reservoir after extreme drought fueled by climate change continues causing water levels to nosedive to their lowest in recorded history. Over the weekend, 2 people paddleboarding on the lake discovered human bones, including a jaw with teeth. This comes days after the decomposing body of a man was also spotted inside a rusted barrel in the lake, similar to this one recently found. Law enforcement are currently treating the case of the man in the barrel as a homicide. Investigators have not yet identified the remains, but presume he may have been shot, estimating he died anywhere between the mid-1970s to early 80s. The discovery now causing speculation over whether the death could be traced to members of the mob who once dominated nearby Las Vegas.
We were born from the mob, basically, unlike any other city that you could think of.
Although some local officials say more evidence needs to be unearthed.
If they were able to identify the caliber of bullet, that would tell them an awful lot as to whether or not this is a, quote, mob hit or not. Ordinarily, the mob in those days, if they were going to kill somebody, they took the person or they found the person outside of Nevada, outside of Las Vegas, because they did not want to bring attention to Las Vegas.
But as Lake Mead continues drying up, crime experts warn these discoveries may not be the last.
There's concerns that there are other bodies.
Environmentalists predict water levels could fall by another 20 feet over the coming weeks, spelling catastrophic effects as the lake delivers water for tens of millions of people living in Nevada, Arizona, and California. Rob Dawson, Fox News.
One of the world's largest tech companies is tackling cybersecurity in a new way. Microsoft is rolling out new managed cybersecurity services. This is included as part of the company's Microsoft Security Expert Service, combining human-led service with expert-trained technology. Some offerings include proactively finding threats, investigating alerts, and using the company's complete security information. Microsoft says they have blocked more than 9 billion malware threats and more than 35 billion other phishing and malicious emails in in just the last year. The latest technology from one company could prove the case for augmented reality. Google showed off its AR glasses at the company's annual developer conference. The key feature highlighted in the video showed the glasses' ability to see languages translated before your eyes. The video did not show the glasses in action, only in concept, and Google did not say when they might be available. But what was shown could provide a strong reason for adapting AR tech into modern everyday life. Hyundai is recalling hundreds of thousands of vehicles over potential fires from a faulty part. Hyundai is recalling 215,000 of its Sonata sedans in the U.S. because fuel hoses can leak in the engine compartment and possibly cause fires. The recalls cover certain 2013 and 2014 Sonatas. Owners will be notified in July. Sonatas from 2020 were previously recalled for the same problem. Federal regulators have been investigating Hyundai and Kia for engine fires. The first ever image of the Milky Way's supermassive black hole was revealed today, providing the first direct visual evidence of the gentle giant that lies at the center of our galaxy. The photo, which shows an oval-shaped void surrounded by a bright ring of glowing gas, is only the second image captured of a black hole. It's the first to provide a detailed glimpse of the immense feature dubbed Sagittarius A at the Milky Way's core. The image confirms Sagittarius A is indeed a black hole. Sagittarius A is about 27,000 light years away and is 4 million times more massive than the Sun. A new study suggests rewarding kids for eating their veggies can make children eat them more. Researchers from a university in the Netherlands studied almost 600 kids ages 1 to 4. They divided the children into 3 groups with different levels of exposure to the veggies and rewards. At the end of the study, children in the awards group were more inclined to try more veggies than the others. Analysts say prizes should be fun and not any other food. A big day for the scientific community. Scientists were successfully able to grow plants for the first time using lunar soil brought back by NASA astronauts. University of Florida researchers planted seeds in dirt from the moon last year, not knowing if it would grow, and now the plants are sprouting, though some did end up growing stunted.
For us, the first message is, holy cow, plants can grow in lunar soil. And besides that, we've now learned that there are some things we'll have to know and be able to do better if we want to grow crops.
The lunar dirt used was collected by Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Ferris, Texas is becoming a testing ground for the rest of the country on health care. The city has just approved a plan offering free basic health care to every single resident. Sean Rapp has more.
It will. It'll change healthcare in Ferris. We think it's a model that other cities and counties can use.
Approved by Ferris City Council Monday night, called Access for All.
That's going to provide basic telemedicine and virtual medicine along with a mobile component to every single citizen that resides in our city limits.
The idea of free basic health care to all coming out of the city's response to COVID-19 when it partnered to stand up a monoclonal antibody treatment center.
We've offered monoclonal antibodies to all the residents of Ellis County throughout the COVID pandemic, treated over 4,000 patients in the county.
Dr. Dirk Parrott is president of MD Health Pathways and an emergency medicine physician. Pathways will use full-time and contract doctors, nurses, and paramedics to provide basic health care to folks who call Ferris home.
We want to provide that access to care that maybe doesn't need the level of care at an emergency department, but because nothing else is open, that's where you seek your care.
Ferris sits in Ellis County, one of 60 Texas counties without a public health department.
We had 6 suicides in our city over the last year. That's 50% across the whole county. We care about our people. We want to provide a mental health component to this, a physical health component. We've got 40% of our population that is under or uninsured.
Williams says free access for all can pay off in other ways. Ferris schools, for example, get $35 a day from the state for every student in class.
The RISD averages about 110 kids absent per day. If we can make a 25% impact on that, that's $200,000 to our ISD.
20% of 911 calls for Ferris paramedics are non-emergency calls.
Ferris Police and Fire Department.
Access for All can now handle, in theory, saving the city money. Ferris will use American Rescue funds to pay MD Health Pathways to provide this basic health service, $55 a year for each of its roughly 3,500 citizens.
This is not about doing something where we ask for more money. This is about using dollars that are already available and reinventing the public health system.
Let's leave you with a smile. The iconic Dolly Parton is starring in a musical about Taco Bell on TikTok. The star shared on her Instagram the news of her role in Mexican Pizza the Musical, which will be about Taco Bell's Mexican pizza and how the internet lost it when it was gone in 2020. The pizza had 2 flour tortillas with pizza sauce, tomatoes, beef, melted cheese, and beans. Several fans signed a petition for its return, and even artist Doja Cat joined. Taco Bell said they'll bring back the beloved item on May 19th. That does it for us. I'm Jamie Holmes. Thank you for watching.